the first question that I have here is common question is when is the most ideal time to light the menorah?
Okay. The most ideal time, the Gemara says that the ideal time is by sunset. There's a discussion. What is this? Is it the beginning of sunset or the end of sunset? What we call
just 1 second. It's a little unclear. Maybe I don't know if it's the echo. I don't know, maybe I guess no, it's maybe is there a way to make it clearer? I don't know. Maybe if you sit somewhere else. I'm just wondering if it's the connection or maybe just the way the sound is in the room.
That could also be.
I think we just lost. Did we just lose him? I think we lost him.
Rabbi, if it doesn't clear up, you might have to just go audio only.
Well, the audio is the problem. The video, I don't mind. Oh, you think no, the sound would be better if it's audio? If I take off the video,
right? Because there's less data being transferred over the line.
Oh,
so if he knocks off the video, then the audio might be better.
Okay, we'll see if this works. Okay, if it doesn't work, we'll try just the audio. But okay.
All right. Is it better now?
It sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good.
Let's try maybe with.
Looks like you froze. I think you froze now.
Is it not better?
Okay, it sounds okay now. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so the first question had to do with the most ideal time to light.
It says in the Gemara, Mishatishka Chavo.
Okay, we hear you.
There's.
Oh, I guess not. Maybe we don't hear you. Oh boy.
The end of sunset, which is called Seisika Chovim, by nighttime. Some opinions, that sunset means the beginning of sunset. So many have the custom that they go to afterwards they daven Ma'ariv. After Ma'ariv, by sunset, they come home and they light the menorah. The Lubavitcher minig is, now this is that they daven mincha earlier. After they come home before sunset, they light on sunset. And then afterwards, they come back to shul for Ma'ariv.
So it's the beginning of sunset, basically.
So the Lubavitcher minig is the beginning of sunset. But many hold that the minig is the end of sunset. And after Ma'ariv, they come home and they light.
Okay. And the question that often comes up is that you have an event right at that you're going somewhere. There's Chanukah parties.
Right.
So what do you do in that situation with regard to lighting menorah? I would assume this is a very common question that comes up.
Right. It is very common for sure. Lechatchila initially, as initial preference, first light the menorah at home, do the mitzvah on time, and afterwards there's plenty of time to go to other parties. That's definitely the most preferred thing to do. Just for you don't have any shilas. So at times, what?
But the thing is that when you light the menorah at home, if everyone leaves the house, from my understanding, it's not so simple. The fact that the most important, a big part of Chanukah is spreading the word of the miracle. So if you all light the menorah and run off, and the menorah is not even in a window, the menorah is inside the house. Who's actually seeing it? So is it?
But when you light,
yeah.
But when you light the menorah, you're there. You're seeing it.
So as long as you see it for 1 minute, That's good enough.
Yeah.
And then
that's good
that's
when you light, right? When you light on time. If you're lighting it on time, that's okay. There is a chumrah, the Lubavitcher meaning also, is that to sit by the menorah for half an hour. There's something mikradin.
So,
Rabbi,
in other words,
Now,
but practically speaking, I work up in Broward County.
mhm,
Well, actually, we work all the way downtown in Miami.
mhm,
No, hon. And my house is up in Aventura.
mhm,
And I have to leave the office. I would typically go home to like Chanukah Lecht, and then whatever.
Yeah.
And this, to go north to come back south to where I am a few blocks away is not going to happen.
right.
Why should it? I mean,
That's
I can light.
right.
The question is, I think, what precautions do I need to take in a situation
Okay.
where I cannot practically,
Mhm,
do it the right way?
right.
And what do I do in that situation?
Right. So this situation, there are two options. One option is if in your office, you eat over there, your meals over there. There is a place, but I think as a better option to go to the party, you could eat mezainis, you could eat less than a kabetza. You don't wash, you don't need a meal. You could drink, you could any other, and when you come home, then you light.
Right.
Just need a meal.
So yeah.
so when people stay by the candles to watch it, is that the minhag is to actually look at the candles the whole time, or it's more just to hang out near the candles?
It seems to be hanging out.
So
You
can
don't
learn, you can
use
have
the
a sefer,
candlelight.
right? You
Well,
can't benefit from it. So you have
Right,
you can like
you
learn
can
a
benefit
sefer.
from it. Again.
So you could
look
read, you
at
could
them,
learn,
not
you could
with
pray,
them.
Yeah.
you could learn. Yeah.
Obviously, you have the light on. You have a shamish. You're not benefiting from the candles, but it's hanging out near the candles.
So a big question I think that comes up is Friday night when people are eating at other people's houses. So they have two shilas. One is where to light Shabbos candles, and one is where to light Hanukkah candles. And the question is, which on both? What is the ideal way to do it?
Depends where they are, where they're sleeping, and where they're eating. They're going. So I think it's each one. I think is.
We don't hear you. It's breaking up again.
Right. Is the connection okay? Okay, the connection now okay?
Now it sounds a little better, yeah. But now we don't hear you. Now we don't hear you. Maybe you want to try in your car, maybe, or like there's no audio.
Try audio only.
Okay, we're just taking a moment here to get the technical issues. You want to try again?
Oh, do you hear me now?
Yeah, at least that sentence we heard. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I'm saying since the dinim the dinim which regarding to people which are eating by other people's houses, there are many details. It's hard to make a general summary. There are many details. So I think it's a particular case. It's a case-by-case situation.
Okay, but it's common for people to sleep in their house and they eat it Friday night. They're eating it so, like for example, I'm having this.
Right.
I'm going to have guests.
Right. So we're going. So the best thing is that they light in the house. They leave camp and they stay there until Tzeitzek Chavim, and afterwards they go to the guests. That's one way.
So that's
another
the
thing
ideal.
that could be done is that's the ideal thing, right?
So both Hanukkah candles and Shabbos candles are mainly where you're sleeping, not where you're eating.
But it's mainly where you're eating, but in this case, you eat and you sleep in your own house. And now it's a temporary thing that you're going to be eating in someone else's house.
So really eating would be the main thing.
Usually it's eating, yeah. And also Shabbos is usually
But for Hanukkah candles, would the main thing be eating or sleeping?
If
it would also be.
So for Chanukah and for Shabbos. Your house, the place where you eat or the place where you sleep.
Okay, so
here you have a place where
is...
you usually eat or sleep. Yeah. And just temporarily, one Sunday you're going to somewhere. One meal you're going to your friend's house.
So the only question is, so people are going to come to my Shabbos on Hanukkah, and they're going to end up coming and they're going to say, oh, we didn't light yet Hanukkah candles. So is it 100% fine for them to light where they're going to eat at my house temporarily, even though they're only here temporarily in my house? Or should I have them in mind when I light, or what would be the situation then?
I want to look this up because I'm not sure. It's not so simple.
So it is a good question. Huh?
Yeah.
So Shabbos candles, no Shiloh. Shabbos candles, they do it all the time. They light with it.
Right. Shabbos candles is easier, right? Because they're actually eating there and they're eating by the Suda.
Right. So, but Hanukkah is not so simple.
Hanukkah,
Okay. So, Mitzvah Hashem, we'll get the answer. We'll maybe email it to everyone. Okay. Now, the question is, when people make a bar mitzvah or a wedding on Hanukkah, what should they do to get around this problem? They're going to have many guests, and generally a chuppah starts at a certain time during the day, and often it's before Shkia. So do they change? Are they supposed to really change the time to the common time for Chasana because it's Hanukkah, and for bar mitzvah like start extra late? The ideal,
right. So this thing, it's the same idea. The same idea as other parties. So the best thing is to light the lemonade on time and do the party after fulfilling the obligation.
So I'm talking about the people who are making the party.
Those making the party, those participating.
So they should all try. They should try to reschedule. They make the schedule different.
Right.
Now, okay. Now, if the wicks go out, are you obligated to relight it? Is it a minhag to relight it? Do you say another bracha? Do you need to recite another bracha? Does it matter the reason why they went out? If it just was something happened that they went out, or if it's the wind, it's because you're in a windy area. So what happens then if the candles go out before?
After how long?
Time, within the first half hour, or 40.
Right. So here we have a klal. We have a general rule. Hadlaka is a mitzvah. The menorah, the candles have to be prepared while we are lighting. In other words, we have to place a menorah in a proper place. We have to place a candle which is longer
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say this again. We don't hear any of it.
We have to place the menorah, the candles, the wicks, the oil. It has to be placed when we light. It has to be placed. It has to be in a way that it will light for half an hour. We have to place the menorah in a place that it's not windy, because if there's wind, it will blow out. So if we did everything accordingly, everything was okay, the candles were long enough, there was enough oil, it wasn't placed in a windy place. For some reason, it just blew out. So in this case, you already ate to the mitzvah, you already fulfilled the mitzvah. It's a minhag, obviously, without a bracha, to relight the candle. But it's not an obligation, it's a minhag.
Thank you.
And then you have a case that for any reason the candle was too short or there wasn't enough oil. So when you lit the candle and afterwards within a half an hour it went off, it blew out, then you didn't fulfill the mitzvah. So here you must here it's a chiyuv to relight the candle.
Now, okay. So then, on another topic, the custom of playing dreidel. People sometimes play with money, and we're wondering if that has anything. Is that an issue of gambling?
Only when we run out of beans.
So it is. So obviously, playing with money is gambling, like every other gamble.
So it is a problem.
It is a problem, yeah. So gambling, according to the Rambam, gambling is gezel midrabanan. It's not midrais, it's gezel midrabanan. According to Rosh, it's mutter, but it's also not the proper thing to do.
According to the Rosh, gambling.
They have other prizes. What? According to the Rosh, gambling, yeah.
Why?
There's no Isser. What?
Why is that?
There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. I'm saying gambling is mutter mitzad. I'm saying mitzad gezel. But let's say like this. There's a Gemara that says that people who gamble are apostolators. As a machlekes between the Rambam and the Rosh, why they are apostolators? The Rambam says apostolators. Why? Because gambling is gezel. Because a person doesn't full-heartedly, he doesn't give you this money. But he thinks he's going to win. That's what. But he doesn't really give you as a present. He doesn't have a choice. Therefore, he's compelled to give it to you. Therefore, it's gezel midrabanan. And a gazlon, a thief, is apostle for edus, for testimony. This is the Rambam Shita. According to the Rambam, anyone gambling is apostle edus midrabanan. It's a gezel midrabanan. It's theft midrabanan. It's robbery, and it's apostle edus. This is the Rambam Shita. The Rosh holds that when it says in the Gemara that gamblers, you're talking about a person that his whole livelihood, his whole parnasa is from gambling. This guy doesn't. Hello?
Okay, now we hear you.
Right. Did you hear that? Right. So according to the Rambam, it's theft midrabanan.
The Rambam we heard.
Obviously, he's also right. This you heard. Now, according to Rosh, Rosh says, why is he apostle edus? He's apostle edus because he doesn't live a normal life. We're talking about a person that his whole parnasa from gambling. He doesn't have any other parnasa. So since his whole parnasa from gambling, when he comes afterwards a shaila and dintayro, and this person has to testify what happened, what didn't happen, this person, since he doesn't live a normal lifestyle, we don't trust his edus on how other people live a normal his testimony regarding other people who live a normal lifestyle.
So he's not doing an isser. He's just not able to testify.
Right. Right. So according to Rosh, a person who has a normal parnasa, a normal business, he teaches, he has a store, whatever he does, he has an office, a profession, and once in a while it goes and gambles.
It's not a problem.
Right. Right. Okay. You have other problems.
You have other problem that what?
In all the things.
We don't hear you. What's the other problem?
And the person's wasting his money.
Oh. Baltashkas. We don't hear you now. Oh. Do you want to try without the video? See if it's if the audio is stronger. Maybe you click
without the video. That's what I have to do over here. Let's see.
Bottom left.
It could be. Right. No, maybe I could try to go to another place. Maybe I'll go outside. Maybe it might be better.
Okay.
I'll try to go outside.
Okay, I'll just go over what Rabbi Kwin just said, because some of the words were in Hebrew, and some of you were not maybe were not able to follow, because the Hebrew words are not, you might not be familiar with them. So Rabbi Kwin was talking.
What location is he?
What location? What do you mean?
Yeah, like where is he?
In North
Miami Beach.
Okay.
So Rabbi Kwin was just talking to us about the if dreidel could be considered gambling, and he mentioned that they're in general, the Gemara says gambling, you're pasul le'edus. Pasul le'edus means you're invalid to give testimony. You can't testify in a Jewish court. Someone who gambles. The Rambam holds that it's a prohibition of gambling. It's a rabbinic prohibition, because you do not really mean to give up the money. And because you gambled and you end up giving someone else you're forced, so to speak, to give the other person the money, but you didn't really have that in mind, it's considered like stealing. He has to give you money, you have to give him money. You ultimately are involved in zela midrabanan, stealing, rabbinic stealing, meaning biblically it's maybe not a problem, but rabbinically it's a problem, because you steal from a rabbinic perspective. You would be invalid for test for.
I would say that is, even there, you have to be like totally involved or very much involved. And even there, it would be something like if you played 21, or as they say in Yiddish, 21 on Chanukah, that's half a problem. Dreidel, nobody gets in trouble for. I'm sorry. Serious bucks, maybe.
So that's really one question, but I would ask another question. Gambling in the olden days was more that you said something, but you didn't put the money on the table. Here, for dreidel, you're putting the money already on the table, and you've already given up the money. So maybe even the Rambam would hold that it's not a problem, because you've handed over money. It's not gzela. Maybe I'm just throwing a thought. I'm asking.
You're asking a very good question, because according to the Rambam, let's say like this: the Sfaradim, they passing like the Rambam. The Ashkenazim, we passing in like the Rosh. Now, playing the lottery. So playing the lottery in the Chutz La'aretz, where it's with Goyim, it's not a problem. Playing the lottery in Eretz Yisrael, which Eretz Yisrael, they're all Yidden. So according to Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yosef hold that the Sfaradim cannot play the lottery because it's gambling. Now, there was a Rabbi Avram Shapiro. He was a chief rabbi in Eretz Yisrael, and he said that even according to the Rambam, you could play the lottery. And why? He made a similar distinction that you made. That there's a difference that when you gamble and afterwards you have to pay the money, or you already bought a lottery ticket. In other words, you forfeited your money before the draw. And he held that since you forfeited your money before the draw, it's like you abandoned this money and you gave up on the money.
So it's an argument.
Right. So within the Sfaradim itself, I don't know about the Shapiro was an Ashkenazi, but in the Sfaradim itself, there was such a chiluk.
Rabbi?
Yes, David.
No, it's Moshe.
Just 1 second, Moshe. David was raised. Moshe, just wait 1 second. I hold on, David. I'll call you next.
So what about slot machines? Because it's similar. You already given your money.
By Ashkenazi, we don't have such a problem. The main problem is with the Sfaradim. By Ashkenazi, we don't have the problem.
Again,
a person which has a normal parnaso, we don't have this problem. Right.
We don't encourage anyone to do this. It's a waste of money. Please don't learn just because something might be permissible, it's not advisable.
Right.
So, but it happens to be that there are leniencies. Okay. Moshe.
Yeah, I feel that we're deviating a little bit from what talking about Chanukah.
Well, dreidel is a very common game.
I understand, but it seems like we're going to lottery and everything else.
Do
But
you
I
have
wanted
any?
to find out about, I
Yeah.
wanted to find out about
Yeah.
the Hanukkah lifter in the window. Which window should it be placed during
Mhm.
Hanukkah? Instead of, have a person put a Hanukkah lifter on a table, I want to find out how you would do it in a window, which I do, but I want to make sure I'm doing it correct.
Right. Okay. So regarding Chanukah menorah, now Mikradin, the Gemara, if you have one candle and you put it on the table, it doesn't matter where you're Yitzchok. You fulfill the mitzvah. Now let's go further on. On Chanukah, you have to do Persumi Nisa. You have to show the Nisa of the world. A big Nisa had a big miracle. And where do we do this? So some they have the menorah and they put the menorah outside, by the doorpost outside. Others they put it in the window. Now the problem with putting it in the window is the first thing you have to make sure that it's a first or second floor window, because above 20 amis, a person will not be yotze. And the best place to put it is in a window which is towards the street.
Suppose you're facing an apartment, and you have a window. Let's say the only window you have is like in the kitchen. Would you be able to put it in that window that's facing another apartment in the same?
What floor? What floor is this apartment? How high is this?
It's on the second floor. It's a second floor.
Right. Usually a second floor apartment should be okay, but it's better. But if you could do it towards the street, that's okay. But if not, you could do it towards another apartment.
So in other words, if you're on the 20th floor, as long as there's other buildings that are also 20 floors high, then you're considered it's fine. It's not considered above.
Okay. Yeah, yes, a very good question. The truth is, this discussion was in the past 50, 60 years. It is a machlokes haposkim. Some say since Chazal said 20 amis, that's 20 amis. That's the gather of the mitzvah. You can't fulfill the mitzvah higher than 20 amis.
Mm-hmm.
Some say that 20 amis, if you live on the 20th floor and there are other buildings around you with also 20 floors, then it's okay. Because when you light the menorah, even though you're on the 20th floor, other people on the 20th floor, they see the menorah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So some say you could do light with a bracha without any problems. But the best thing is to have a type of menorah that you could see on both sides. You could see out of the window and in the window, in the house itself. Then it's like you're lighting in your house and you yourself, you can see the menorah.
Right. So in other words, that halacha only applies if your menorah has a back to it.
Right. Then the people in the house, they don't see the menorah, only the outside. Right.
People in the house can see it, so then the law of 20 amos doesn't apply because you're lighting for your local.
There are people in the house. Right.
People in the apartment. Okay. If a person lives alone, should they invite someone each night in order to have people see their menorah? They're lighting inside. They're going to be the only ones who are seeing it. Should they invite someone else to come so that they could, other people will be able to see the menorah, or is it not necessary?
Like this. If they're lighting on time, it's not necessary. If the lighting, which is on time, means within the first half an hour. If the lighting later on, they could light until the morning. But then it's necessary to have other people there. If there's not other people there, they should light without a bracha.
Okay. I did want to mention that earlier we mentioned that there's a very strong opinion to light at Shkia. But people who light with candles that are Chanukah candles, I don't know if that would be advisable for them to light at Shkia because they're going to go out in a half hour later. Is that correct?
Right.
Would you advise them that they should wait? People who are using Chanukah candles should not light.
The short candles, they should wait till Kislev, yes.
Right. Shkia means sunset.
Right.
So it's a nice thing. There is a common opinion that to light, not necessarily according to everyone, but many hold that you should light at sunset, but that's only if you use oil or you use big candles. If you're using
big candles, right, for 50, 60 minutes, right.
Using Chanukah candles, they won't last long enough. And therefore, if you're using just Chanukah candles, just light at Seis HaKrichavim means when dusk, when the stars come out. That's when you should light, and then for sure you fulfill the mitzvah properly, because at least it lasted a full proper half hour. So if it's before it's Seis HaKrichavim, before dusk, before the stars come out, you don't need anyone in your house with you. Is that the rule? It would basically the Seis HaKrichavim.
That's right. That's right. That's what it seems on the place.
And that's
what it says.
That's 90 minutes after Shkia.
Well, that's a very strict view. 90 minutes. The common view, I don't think everyone follows that. Even that's like beyond even Rabbi Tam.
So what would it be after Shkia? I don't know. I just threw a number
Rabbi Kwin
out.
told us a half hour. He said Rabbi Kwin said a half hour.
Between Shkia and Tesechavim, each place is something else. It's more or less 20, 25 minutes, half an hour. It depends on the place. And then it's a half hour after Tesechavim. Just to note that there are poskim nowadays who are told, since the Gemara doesn't say a half hour after Shkia, the Gemara says at the Kali Rigli the Talmudai. Until people in the streets, as long as people are still in the streets. So in the times of the Gemara, there weren't any lights. There wasn't any electricity. So after half hour, people are already at home. Nowadays, when we have lights, we have street lights. People 12 o'clock at night, people are still in the street.
Half hour after sunrise, they're not home.
What? Yeah. Right. So that's another thing ready. So there are places which hold that till 10, 11, 12 at night, you could still light. Because people are still in the street. It depends on the areas. Depends where you live, depends.
So according to those opinions, if you're lighting inside your house and you have no guests, would that mean that would be fine to light late?
Yeah.
So who do you paskin like? Like who do you, when someone asks you a shaila?
Right. I think the best thing is over here is like this. So, since you have a klal, we have a general rule, Safik brachas lahakil. So we have the first 30 minutes. If not, if you don't have other people, if you could invite other people, wonderful. If not, then you light the menorah without a bracha.
Light the menorah without a bracha. Wow.
Right.
So now when you say the first 30 minutes, do you mean 30 minutes after sunset or 30 minutes after the stars come out?
After the stars come out.
So you really have like an hour to be
right. Correct.
So it's 30 minutes after the stars come out. That's because you want to fulfill the opinion to cover all grounds and fulfill this in case the people stop after a half hour.
Right.
Would be after the stars come out. But it's possible that you're missing the view of the stars that it goes by Shkia, and then that you've missed that time frame of Kalya Rigla Tarmudai would be a half hour after sunset. Is that true, or everyone agrees that the end of people walking around was a half hour after dusk? Would that be according to all opinions, or would some say that really it ended after sunset? That people are
This is a good question. I'll have to look it up. That's a good question. Well, the Pesach is Lamaisa. What we do is so a half hour after Tzedek after the stars. Right.
Okay, so that's important halacha for people who live alone.
Right. For example, even like the Lubavitcher minig, they light by sunset, and they leave the candles lit for 50 minutes, which is about a half hour after Tzedek.
Right. Okay. Okay, that's a good explanation.
To both opinions, right?
Okay. Next question is, when one of the spouses is away, the husband is going away for a few days, or the wife is going away for a few days. So the person lighting at home, is it advisable they should have in mind the person who's away, or does it depend if it's the husband who's away or the wife is away? Should they both light wherever they are?
I think the many by Ashkenazim, the best thing is that they both should light wherever they are, and they should have in mind that they're not being mitzvah. And in other words, no one's fulfilling the mitzvah with anyone, and they're both lighting where they are.
And what about Sephardim?
Right. By the Sephardim, it's a little more difficult. Because by the Sephardim, only one person lights the candles, and he's the owner of the house. So the one who has home, the one who's in the house, he's the one who, he or she is the one who lights the candles. Another one fulfills a mitzvah with the guy in the house. However, but this is all when they're both in the same time zone. If they're in the same time zone, and the mitzvah they're fulfilling the time to fulfill the mitzvah at the same time, then when one does the mitzvah, the other one fulfills the mitzvah. But if there are different time zones, it could be that that by one of them it's the time to light, the other one is on a different time zone. It's not yet the time to light, or it's past the time to light. Then anyway, they have to light by themselves on the right time.
Okay, next Shiloh.
I have a question.
Okay, yes, Moshe.
Can anyone be in the family a Balabite to light the candles on a night and on any of the 8 nights of Hanukkah?
Yeah, you understand?
What do you mean, Moshe? Do you, first of all, are you talking for a Sephardic person or Ashkenazic? And
for
why?
Ashkenaz. Can anyone?
And you want one person to be the Balabayas and have everyone in mind instead of having everyone light? Like, what do you mean with your question?
Well, what I'm asking is that each night can it be a different person who lights the candles? Basically, does it have to be the same person who lights the candles every night, or can it be somebody else who lights it?
So the question is just like this: in general, by the Ashkenazim, the minhag is by Ashkenazim that every person in the household lights the candles by themselves. No, if for any reasons this is not possible, it could be one person lighting. Now, who has the chiyuv? Who has the obligation to light? It's the owner of the house. So the owner of the house should be lighting the candles. But if for any reason the owner of the house cannot light the candles, he could ask someone else to light the candles. But here we have a rule. Mitzvah by yesem b'shluchi. In other words, if I could fulfill a mitzvah, I could fulfill a mitzvah by myself, or have someone else doing the mitzvah for me. It is better that I do it by myself.
So it really should be the Balabayas.
The Balabais, right. It's better the Balabais.
Okay, then we had some side questions. Does anyone else want to ask any questions specifically about the menorah? Anyone have any complicated questions or even easy questions? Things that are
talking.
Yes, Mordechai. We hardly see you behind some screen over there. Something's blocking, but yeah.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Okay. Now we see.
Okay. I know that on Friday we light the menorah before lighting the Chanukah candles, but hold on a second. Once the man lights the menorah and the woman lights the candles, often it's time for the man to go down to shul to daven mincha and ma'ariv, and so is that still okay? That's still okay, even though the man's not going to be present.
Okay. So regarding in general, so it's better to daven mincha before lighting Hanukkah candles. Now, if for any reason a person did not daven mincha before, and the reason is because the first thing is that mincha is keneged. Mincha is instead of the korban tomet shobein arbaim, the korban that was in the Beis Hamikdash, and the menorah was written later on. So first there was mincha, the korban of mincha. Later on, they lit the candles in the Beis Hamikdash. Another thing, also we have a cloud. If we have something that we do usually every single day, like mincha, and we have something we do occasionally, so first we do the regular thing, which is mincha. Later on, afterwards, we do candles. But if for any reason we didn't have a mincha yet, and we have to light candles, then we light candles, and afterwards we have mincha. Now, regarding Erev Shabbos, obviously we have to light candles. We can't light candles on Shabbos. But lighting candles means midrabanon, and lighting candles on Shabbos, the issue of lighting candles, the chilul Shabbos is midoraisa. So therefore, I have to be careful to light candles. The Chanukah candles we light before the Shabbos candles. I have to be careful to light before the time. So accordingly, we light Chanukah candles before the time. Afterwards, Shabbos candles on time, and afterwards we could go and daven mincha.
If a person forgot to light Hanukkah candles and it's already Shabbos, can they have a guy light the Shabbos candles, Hanukkah candles?
I never looked this up, so I don't know if someone with me. I never really looked this up, but it seems logical that no. You have a similar question regarding Shabbos and similar regarding Shabbos candles. But Shabbos candles, when a guy lights Shabbos candles, it says he should only light one candle. That's the minimum, right? In case that he didn't light, and it's only Ben Oshmashis. Ben Oshmashis is twilight, not after Tzedek Chavim. And this is since you have a use for the candles. You have a use for the candles for Enig Shabbos. Now regarding Shabbos, Chanukah candles, there's no use for the candles. We have no use for these candles, and it's only for a mitzvah, and the guy can't do the mitzvah.
Okay.
So the answer will be no.
Okay.
Right. That's what seems to be. That's the logic. Right. I never looked this up, but it seems logical.
Okay, so we have some other more we have a question about the torch. Yeah, if I remember correctly, in Shulchan Aruch it mentions that you're not allowed to use a torch for Hanukkah candles. But for some reason, how do you differentiate? I mean, you see them using torches, like big, very thick wicks, when they light these big menorahs. And how do you differentiate between like a torch and just making a very thick wick? I mean, it seems like, what's the cutoff?
So what it seems to be basically when you open Simon Tafishan Aleph is that one wick, doesn't matter how big the wick is, but one wick is a candle. 2 wicks combined together is a torch.
But they seem
like
to
like an Avdollah candle. You have 2 separate wicks, and you have 2 separate wicks with a flame combining them together. This is a torch.
Right. But what about like a string of tzitzis, where the ways the strings are made, each string is really 2 strings, and each of those 2 strings are really 4 strings.
Right. But since it's only one flame, it's only one flame coming from one string, that's one candle.
It's called one candle. So it's when there's going to be 2 flames that join. That's
right. Exactly.
Okay. And the next question is there any halachas about that we should know, that women have to know about not doing work when the candles are what halachas are applicable?
Right. So usually there's a minhag that women have a minhag not to do malacha, not to do work when the candles are lighting, and the candles are lit. The Pesachim, right? We're talking about malachas like sewing and these types of things, but cooking and cooking and frying and cooking, like things that we do in the kitchen, is okay. Right. That's the main. Right.
Cleaning the house would be a problem or not?
Right.
Like,
cleaning is a discussion. It depends on there are some places which I have a custom to be more machmir, sometimes less. There's a minhag in Yerushalayim. Some women have a minhag in Yerushalayim that even cooking they don't do when the menorahs are lit. So it's a type of thing, but it varied between the places. Some places have some minhagim, some have other minhagim. So each one should do it the way she was taught to do.
Is there any rule in Lubavitch, like what the minhag or
no, nothing special.
So everyone pretty much the common thing is, at least besides Yerushalayim, is you're allowed to cook. That's you're
allowed to cook, right. Cooking, preparing food was okay.
Preparing food was always fine.
Latkes and donuts, you're allowed to cook. You're allowed to do. It's okay.
No laundry.
Laundry not.
No, I'm saying no laundry was the main thing.
Right.
Okay.
So in buttons, laundry, these things, no.
And how long would that apply to? If you lit it at sunset, would that apply for 50 minutes or just 30 minutes?
I think 15 minutes, 30 minutes after Tzedek Kochavi.
30 minutes after the stars come out. Okay.
Right.
Okay. And now
there are opinions. There are opinions which hold the Magli Tzedek, the Magen Avraham brings this down. When it says 30 minutes, it says when the candles are lit, they're not the candles in the house; it's the candles in the shul.
Mm-hmm.
And that's two choice. It's also a minig. It's also an opinion. There are those which have this custom, but each one should the way she was taught to do.
Okay. The other shilas have to do with like other inyanim that are connected to Chanukah, but not exactly with the menorah. So one of them is Chanukah gelt. What's the inyan? What's the concept of Chanukah gelt, and does it apply to giving presents?
Right. So the purpose of Chanukah gelt is to educate the children to give tzedakah, and the main tzedakah on Chanukah is le'loim de Torah, because the Yavonim, the Greeks, the whole thing was lahashkichum miteirosecho. They wanted Yidden not to learn Torah, and so on Chanukah we're making an extra effort to learn more Torah, and to educate the children to give tzedakah, and the main tzedakah is tzedakah for limud Torah, for Torah education, for Talmidei Chachamim, for kolos, for yeshivas, for chadorim. We have limud Torah. And this is the main purpose of Chanukah gelt. Now, regarding presents doesn't have to do anything to do with this. But a present could be a nice thing. A lot of times we see this on Yom Tiv, that for Samachta Bechagecha and Shalosh Regolim, that you give them a present. This way they're happy, so they'll be happy. There's no problem with it. But it's not Chanukah gelt. Chanukah gelt is education to give tzedakah.
So in order for them to give tzedakah, they have to keep some and give some, basically.
Right.
Otherwise,
right.
So that's why it's not common to give the whole thing away to tzedakah. Common thing is they're expecting them to keep it, as far as I understand.
Right. So usually it became like a present, but the main purpose of this present is you gave them tzedakah, you gave them money, and from this money they will give it to tzedakah. Right. That was the main point over here.
Now, another shaila is the chocolate coins, which is a common thing on Chanukah. I don't know where it came from. I guess Chanukah comes from Chanukah gelt, Chanukah coin, the chocolate coins. Some of them have
Barton's.
Again, what?
It
what did you
came
say?
from Barton's originally.
Barton's. That was a company that made it. Okay, so some of them have letters that are engraved. Some of the letters are protruding. And I'm wondering about on Shabbos if there's any, if there's a problem, if it's called derech achila, eating them, or
right.
And is there a problem taking off the wrapper because the letters might get a little like disformed or, possibly.
So like this. Regarding Shabbos, according to the Mishnah Berurah and the Mishnah Shabbos Kolchos, you don't have any problems with it. Since it's engraved, and you could say like it's like an engraving, like the letters and the paper, what you call, since it's one thing, it's one entity. So according to the Mishnah Berurah and Mishnah Shabbos Kolchos, there's no problem whatsoever. You could break it, you could eat it. There's no problems. Now, according to it seems to be according to the Alter Rebbe, according to the Shulchan Aruch Rav, that even though they are together, does seem to be a problem. As a Raya Nilchos Pesach, that it seems to also make an issue with it. So therefore, you don't break it with your hands, but you could put it in your mouth. So it's because while you're putting it in your mouth, it's a total deviation from eating it, and this is okay. And you put the whole thing together in the mouth from erasing. It's right. It's a deviation from erasing. It's not the normal way of erasing. It's derech achila. It's as you're eating. So if you put everything totally in your mouth, then it's okay. You put all the letters in your mouth in one shot. That's okay. Now, regarding taking off the wrappers, you try to put the wrappers the way you're supposed to. Yeah, try to take out the wrappers in a neat way. And if something happens, it wasn't done on purpose. It's any miskavin. It's any miskavin, mekalkel, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. Another shaila that comes up is people make donuts with this challah dough. It's a very common thing because it's very easy. They sell it in the store, this challah dough. It's made for roll. and people just, it's divided into pieces, and people just take it and they fry it, and I guess they add some sugar to the top and call it a donut. And so, is there any reason why it might be considered hamaitzi?
No, it's mezainis. If you deep fry, if you take hamaitzi and you deep fry it. In other words, if you take dough, which would usually use for a challah roll, for hamaitzi, and it's deep fried instead of baked, it's mezainis.
And would there be the rule of pas haba b'kisnin that if you eat so much, it might be considered hamaitzi? No,
mezainis. Since it's not baked, it's cooked.
Right. So there's no limit. You could have as much as you want. It's never hamaitzi.
Right.
And okay. Anyone else with any shilas? I think we pretty much covered.
Are we better off with jelly rolls or with the one with the custard?
I think since it's a minig, it's like Katie Van Beyu. You say when you get an esrig, you want to get the nicest esrig. So you're getting a donut. It's a minig yisrael. You want to get the best donut, the nicest donut.
Okay, but I guess another shaila would be, you had mentioned earlier that if you didn't light yet, you could you would be allowed to eat less than a kibetza, less than the size of an egg, of even cake or anything.
Cake, mazainis, or hamaitzi, all other
even
things.
Even hamaitzi, less than a kibetza.
Right.
Now, is there any heter that you would ask a shomer, ask someone to remind you to light, and then you could even eat a regular sandwich, a regular meal, because you have a shomer, or is that not a valid?
Right. I've seen Svarim discouraging this. I've seen this written down that a shomer won't be okay. Right. But on the other hand, if we look in the place scheme, there is some more for Chanukah. There's a little more place for leniency, because when you see before Megillah, it says also lechol, and before B'dikas Chometz it says the Shulchan Aruch writes in Siman Tov Lamed Aleph Yizah Shelo lechol. Alter Rebbe writes asu lechol, but when it comes to Chanukah, the Magen Avraham writes in Siman Tov Reish Ayin Beis Toiv Shelo lechol. So a good thing not to eat, which lowers the stringency of eating before the menorah. Right. So there's a little more, but anyway, yeah.
So would that same halacha apply to like Ma'ariv, that doesn't help having a shomer to eat if you want to eat dinner with like a regular meal, hamaitzi or something? And
right, because before Ma'ariv you have another problem also. That's before Kriyashma, and Kriyashma is midaraisa.
So how about if you say Kriyashma, then you want to eat?
Then you want to daven later on. So if a shomer will be okay, I have to look in the base game. If a shomer will work over here.
Right. Okay. Anyone else want to have any shilas that they last chance?
You were saying before about frying bread, so French toast is a mazonos?
No, French toast was already baked, and now it's being fried. Donuts, it's made to begin with, it's fried, deep fried.
Okay. We were talking before this morning about a woman. So it's a positive mitzvah that's time dependent, but a woman is obligated to make to light if the husband's not around.
Right.
So if the husband's not around, because, what's that?
I mean, and here the reason is because women, like it's and Chanukah and Purim, since women were also part of the nace, they're also part of the miracle. So in the beginning, when Chachamim made the decree that they have to light the candles, women were included in the decree.
So really, women should be lighting. It's just there is a minhag that the man lights for the women, even though among Ashkenazim everyone lights. So really, women should really light. It's just that we have a minhag maybe that the men might see the women, right? Is that correct? Oh, we don't hear you.
Again?
Really, women should be lighting the menorah. Every woman should be lighting. We just have a minhag That I don't know if in Ashkenazic households maybe they do light. I don't know. I know in Lubavitch it's general the minhag for men to light. I don't know if
right. Usually usually a woman which is married, her husband's like
her husband lights for her. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
But what about the older girls? That's the question. Older girls in the house. If there's high school girls, whatever, over bas mitzvah, or younger girls.
You may have to go back outside again.
Yeah. Well, we can't hear you. We're gonna have this will be the final question. So let's just see if we can get a final answer, and we'll call it a day. This was really wonderful. So I'll just take this opportunity to thank Rabbi Kwin. This was really a very special session that we had. All these so many shilas asked, and Rabbi Kwin was able to answer us. And it looks like he is. He's back. Rabbi Kwin, should we try to just give an answer to that final thing about the women? Isaac, do you know about that? Do women in Ashkenazic households, do they generally light the girls?
When they say all, I don't remember it being the women. By us, they said all. They meant kids, and everybody lit their own little menorahs. But I think Shoshana said her mother had it, that they had for the women also that they lit. But that was a Hungarian. Mine is a Polish family. Hers was Hungarian.
Yeah, I was wondering more about also high school girls and young kids, girls. Do they all light in like other households?
Never had them. My parents had 4 boys.
Oh, all right. Rabbi Kwin, are you familiar with the minhag among regular Ashkenazic households or Sephardic? Oh. Again, we don't hear you.
The problem is that could you hear me now?
Yeah. No, we don't. No. I don't know.
His reception was good outside, but inside it's not working.
What?
Okay, let's try now. Okay, I think we're just going to conclude. Thank you so much, Rabbi Kwin. And I want to wish everyone of course, we have classes, but if I don't see any of you, have a freilich and Chanukah, a happy Chanukah, and sei gesund. We'll try to, if anyone has any other shilas, feel free to email them, and we'll try to get answers. Any of the shilas that we're looking up. You want to try one more time, Rabbi? Oh.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right. I'm saying I don't know if you heard me. I don't know what you heard exactly about that, but regarding the girls, some of them, it depends on the families. Some have the meaning that the older girls light. Some of them they don't light. In the Bible, for example, they don't light usually.
Right. Okay, shkoyach. Have a happy Chanukah, everyone. See you all.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi Kwin. This was a wonderful session.
Okay. Bye-bye.